What's up, everybody? Josh or Miho here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I'm here today to do my metal albums that I've liked and loved in 2013 so far video. Basically, I'm going to be running down 10 different metal releases that have come out within the last 6 months of this year, 2013, and basically run down the albums that I've either really liked and got great enjoyment from, and the albums that I love and will most likely put in my top 20 come year's end. There's been a lot of great material to come out this year, and obviously 2013 is not over yet. We still have a lot of stuff to go. So, with that being said, let's get on with the liked list. The first album on my liked list is the debut album from the band Coprocephalic entitled Gluttonous Chunks. This is released on Inherited Suffering Records. I've been hearing a lot about this band, mainly from a lot of my friends within this metal reviewing community. Um, yeah, and I've been sort of putting this album off to the wayside because clearly there have been a lot of other different brutal death metal releases, but then this album popped up, and this album was easily available to purchase, so I finally decided to get it, find out what the fuss is about, and honestly, I don't think they're really reinventing the wheel as far as brutal death metal is concerned, but honestly, in my opinion, there is a lot of potential to be had with this project. It's mainly just two people, one guy doing the vocals, another guy doing the guitar, bass, and drum work. And I know recently they made their live debut at the Las Vegas Death Fest with a full lineup to hopefully gain some new followers and some new fans. Um, Music-wise, I think this is some very entertaining and intriguing stuff. This is full of great heavy riffs, nice slams and breakdowns. Um, yeah, pretty much anything you would expect from a modern sounding brutal death metal record. As to be expected, this is a very short record. It's only like 26, 27 minutes in length. It could have been much longer than that. But with what you have here, you have some incredibly entertaining and intriguing stuff. There's a lot of potential to be had with Coprocephalic, and I'm hopeful that they utilize it to the best of their abilities. They are a far more talented band than what is appeared on this album. So check out Coprocephalic and Gluttonous Chunks if you like brutal death metal. The next album on my liked list is the debut album from the band Oceans of Slumber entitled Ethereal. This is self-released. This is pretty much one of the most unique and interesting albums to be presented in the progressive metal atmospheres. This is a band that doesn't just only play progressive metal. They verge into more different aspects and genres. I mean, they cover jazz, hard rock, progressive rock, death metal, black metal. Just so many different musical styles and themes to be heard throughout this album, and I think they pull off each genre presentation incredibly well. I really love the way the guitars are played, very beautiful harmonies, incredible riffs. The drums are spectacular. Dauber is one of the best drummers in extreme music, and he definitely showcases his diversity with this album. I love his drum style. Very very meticulous, very hardworking. He is a great drummer. The vocals are awesome. I love the singing. I love the growls. I love the screams. There is a lot of variety as far as the vocal department is concerned. And I'm hopeful that in the future more attention will be paid to this band. This is some real hardworking progressive metal to be heard here. So support Oceans of Slumber. These guys are great. Um, the next album on my liked list is the debut album from the band Vol, self-titled. This is released on Profound Lore Records. Um, yeah. Vol has been a project I've been hearing a ton about, but honestly, I've never really heard too much of the music until I decided to fatefully buy this album. And the thing that intrigued me about this debut effort is who was involved with it. You have Mike of Yob, Aesop of Agalok, and you got a few members from the band Hammers of Misfortune. Really incredible bands in their own right, in my opinion. And together, they create a sound that is incredibly distinct, unique, and altogether their own kind of sound. More likely than anything, it feels like this is a black metal record, but there is more than meets the eye to it. You definitely hear elements of D-beat, crust, hardcore punk. It's just mesmerizing. And definitely the way the music is played and brought together is just beautiful. Very heavy and crushing. I love the guitar playing on this record, especially on the first couple of tracks like The Wall, Insane with Faith, and Plastic Shaman. Just some awesome guitar and bass songwriting to be heard on those tracks. The drums are just all over the board. They are played very well, and Mike's vocals are spectacular. This guy is not only just a great singer, but he can growl and scream up a storm. Just his vocal deliveries are amazing, and I love this guy's vocal style. So this is an extremely impressive debut, and hopefully more great things will be heard in the future from Vol. Some awesome stuff. Support Vol. These guys are amazing. The next album on my liked list is one of the more recent releases that came out this past June. And I'm talking about the new album from Children of Bodom entitled Halo of Blood. This is released on Nuclear Blast Records. Yeah, Children of Bodom are an extremely popular band based out of Finland. They pretty much delve into the melodic death metal and power metal sides of things. They blend them both very well. I most likely love them for their earlier material. I've been hit and miss as far as their later stuff is concerned. But with Halo of Blood, I definitely think this is one of the best things that they've put out in quite a long time as far as their modern stuff is concerned. I don't think it tops their classic material like Something Wild or Hatebreeder or Follow the Reaper. But Halo of Blood is something completely different in its own right. I really enjoy the musicianship that's being brought forth here. Just some very memorable songwriting, very catchy. It makes you want to nod your head and headbang and get in the pit. And the keyboards are catchy, great riffs, solid drum work. Alexi's vocals are as rugged and rough as can be here. I really enjoy his vocal style, and he definitely delivers the goods with this new Children of Bodom record. This is definitely a return to form for them, in my opinion, and I definitely enjoyed Halo of Blood, so check it out if you're into Children of Bodom. And the final album on my liked list is something that's pretty much going to veer right into my loved list, or maybe even my top 20, so to speak. And I'm talking about the new and supposedly final effort from the band Cathedral entitled The Last Spire. This is released on Rise Above Records and Metal Blade Records in the US. Cathedral need no introduction if you're into Doom or stoner doom or heavy rock or any of that kind of stuff. These guys are pretty much legendary. This is the band that Lee Dorian formed a few years after he had left Napalm Death because he wanted to veer into something completely different and more challenging. And of course we have Cathedral, very legendary doom band, and this is their 10th and final album. And if this is them going out on a bang, they definitely succeed with this. And the riffs on this album are so balls deep heavy. I mean, Pallbearer, Tower of Silence, some incredible guitar work to be heard. It's very powerful, very epic and glorious, and definitely the way the riffs are played on this record are fantastic. Very much methodical doom that makes you want to pay attention and appreciate what's being done here. This is some fantastic stuff, and I definitely recommend this to anyone who is a fan of Cathedral. Lee's vocals on here are very powerful, very soulful. His growls and his singing are amazing, and I'm glad they brought Scott Carlson from Repulsion to play bass on here. It's a nice little addition to an already full package that is The Last Spire, so check it out if you're into Cathedral. Now we get on to the loved list. Basically albums that I've gotten great love and appreciation for, and definitely these albums may see a spot in my top 10 or even top 20 of later in the end of the year. The first album on my loved list is the new album from the band Voivod entitled Target Earth. This is released on Century Media Records. Of course you know Voivod are one of the most legendary metal bands to come out of Canada. Absolutely fantastic progression from thrash into more modern, obscure, sci-fi inspired music, and this is probably one of their most inspired efforts yet. I absolutely enjoy the songwriting that's being done here, like the opening title track, Kluskap Okam, Mechanical Mind, Resistance. Some great music to be heard on this record. I really enjoy the singing, the vocals, the riff work, the drum work. Everything feels comfortable, everything feels natural, and definitely this is one of their most inspired efforts yet. And this was one of the very first albums I considered near perfect in 2013. I absolutely enjoyed Target Earth, and I definitely recommend it to anybody who is a fan of Voivod. 1 second here. Hook up my charger for this one because this is pretty much a long video going on. Yeah. The next album on my loved list is the new album from the band Dream Death entitled Somnium Excessum. This is self-released. Now, Dream Death are one of those old school death metal bands that have a very unique kind of history to them. 26 years ago, they delivered a debut album entitled Journey into Mystery, which I thought was a fantastic release in its own right. And of course, these guys have moved on to more different metal projects. But a couple of years ago, the spark reignited and Dream Death decided to come back. And they decided to make music again, play live again, and now we have their second album, almost 26 years after their debut, entitled Somnium Excessum. And this album is the perfect blending of death metal, doom, thrash. If you're into Autopsy or Incantation or Funebrarum or any of those kinds of bands, Dream Death are amazing. I enjoy the way the music and songwriting efforts are being done here. It is very powerful, very memorable. I mean, songs like Feast and You're Gonna Die Up There, even the vocal work that appears on those tracks are just fantastic. I really enjoy this guy's vocal style. Very, very scary, very ominous. There's an almost horror film type of quality to be had with this kind of band, and they definitely do this kind of metal music style justice. It is fantastic. I love this album a lot, and it has been on current replay mode for me as of lately, so support Dream Death. These guys kick ass. The next album on my loved list is the new album from the band October Falls, entitled The Plague of a Coming Age. This is released on Deborah Morty Productions. Now, this is a band based out of Finland that, in my opinion, crosses the fine line between both black metal and folk metal. Early on in this band's existence, they had a more traditional black metal kind of sound, but with later releases, they decided to switch off into a more dark metal, ambient folk kind of vibe. With The Plague of a Coming Age, you get in my opinion, the best of all of their material put together to create some incredibly atmospheric and beautiful music. Just some incredible riff work, great drum work. The vocals are very powerful, very raspy and rugged. Even when you hear Tommy Jutsen of Amorphous, you hear him on the songs, I'm trying to read the text here, Boiling Heart of the North and the title track, Plague of a Coming Age. I really think he should have been on more songs, to be perfectly honest with you, but with Plague of a Coming Age, this is an amazing record. It is breathtaking, it is beautiful, and there is definitely a lot to be desired with this kind of record if you are into black metal, folk, or dark metal ambient stuff. This is some amazing stuff, so support October Falls. These guys are great. The next album on my loved list is the debut album from the band Lantern, entitled Below. This is released on Dark Descent Records. Now, this has been another one of those, since we're on the topic of Finnish metal bands, this is a band that has been making a lot of sound waves as far as creating extreme music is concerned, releasing a few EPs, a demo or two, and now we have their debut full-length. Yeah, I haven't replayed an album as much as I have Below, and the music on here is so amazing. The riffs are powerful, the drum work is awesome. Probably one of the best vocal performances I've heard on any record this year. Just the conviction in this guy's voice is amazing. I love his vocal style. Just the kind of intensity brewing as he spews out his words and does his almost talking and screaming kind of stuff. It's very unique. This is some incredibly unique death metal, and if you are into blackened death metal and any of the great Finnish death metal stuff that's been going on for a while, Lantern is definitely one of those bands to check out. And also, I should throw in the debut albums from Vorum and Crypts. Some great Finnish death metal that's also on Dark Descent, but pretty much Lantern is my favorite one of the bunch right now, so support Lantern. And the final album on this loved list is pretty much number 5 on my top 10 of this year, and pretty much one of my favorite pieces of pure death metal to come out in 2013. And I'm talking about the debut from the band's, not debut, but the third album from the band Centurion, entitled Contra Rationum. This is released on Listenable Records. These guys are based out of the Netherlands, and these guys have pretty much made a name for themselves as one of the most important bands in the in Dutch death metal. These guys have made a very big name for themselves, and pretty much 10 or 11 years after their last record, they reform Centurion to create something that is straight out to the point, brutal, powerful, and just straight up menacing death metal. This is a short record, but this is meant to be short. It goes straight for the throat, and it never lets you go. The vocals are just awesome. The drum work is never lets up. It is straight up fast-paced and consistent all the way throughout. The drum work is killer. Great guitar riff and bass work. There's just so much to enjoy about Contra Rationum. If you're into traditional death metal, if you're into Deicide or any of that old school style of stuff, Centurion are amazing. And yeah, support these guys. These guys are in top of their game. So this has been a pretty long video, and I'm going to conclude it right here. Let me know what your favorite albums of 2013 have been so far and what you're still looking forward to hearing. So I'm going to conclude this video. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel, and until the next time, Armijo out.